Welcome to episode 15 of the Leeds Rhinos podcast. It's a Monday, so it's our match review edition, and I'm delighted to be joined by our superstar fullback, Lachie Miller, who makes his second appearance of the season on the Leeds Rhinos podcast. A very popular guest, and we're going to get Lachie's insight into last week's loss over at Warrington and how the squad have reacted to that, and also going to look ahead to this weekend. It's the Betfred Challenge Cup next round, and Lockie's going to give us a few tips for how he sees those ties going to wrap things up. Don't forget to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and remember to subscribe so you keep up to date all the latest from the Leeds Rhinos. Got lots of great podcast content out there for you now, so make sure you subscribe to stay in touch and get all the notifications when the new podcasts drop to keep you fully informed of everything Leeds Rhinos. Well, Lockie, a disappointing night in the end over at Warrington in terms of the result, but in terms of the performance, it began to feel like a lot like where we want to be going.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you touched on not the result we wanted, but I mean, personally, we haven't had our team review yet, but watching the game back and just how I felt in the game, I think we can take a lot of confidence. It's definitely where we want to be. I definitely do feel like we were the better team. And they're a really good side. They showed that last year and they've showed that this year. So, really good things. But obviously we need to get 2 points, and at the end of the day, disappointing we didn't.
Yeah, dominant early field position was really in our favour, and then they got that breakaway try. What was the talk like behind the sticks at that point?
It was fine. Obviously, pretty good try from them. A couple defense lapses. One from myself, I just slipped over, and that they rolled the ruck a little bit there and it got quick on us. So just one lapse in concentration. I think that was the one part where in that first sort of 10 minutes where we let ourselves down and they capitalised. But we knew what we had to do, and we have had that chat before where if something goes against us, we just get back to our process, and we did that, and we put on a couple of tries.
Were you having a word with Belly, get a couple more millimetres on the studs?
It's just, I actually think it was the grass just came out. It wasn't even the studs, so nothing wrong with the boots. It was just the grass just completely came out from under me, but yeah, it looked a bit silly.
But we then came back into the game and played some really nice rugby. Probably, I think some of the best rugby we've played this year. Real fluent. There's nice flow along the back line. And we're looking to offload the ball. A lot of offloads in the game as well.
Yeah, well, obviously, I think we've just sort of really started to, that's the first week we've been able to have a back-to-back team, and you could sort of tell. But yeah, just the combinations. Obviously, we've got strike all across the park. I think our middles have been exceptional for laying that platform for us and playing a bit of footy. And then obviously everyone sort of knows the strike power we have in our back line with Ash and Hawley and Harry and the likes of them. So I think we're just really starting to understand how we want to play and how Brad wants us to play. And I thought that we showed that for the most part on Friday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Friday
night. And the game itself, the tries we created, the execution we got there, that begins to feel a bit like where we want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've shown in the past we've been able to look good and not put points on the board. Like for instance, that St. Helens Challenge Cup game, obviously we felt like we were pretty good and physical, but we didn't put points on the board, which at the end of the day, you do need to put points on the board to win. So I do feel like we're definitely going in the right direction. And as I touched on before, I've taken a lot of confidence in our team out of that game the other night.
Yeah, and we look at gain line meters for the game. We outscored Warrington pretty much across the board on those meters. So we are punching holes through defences. Do you think we'll get some fluency around? You mentioned about the combinations changing. That will begin to turn it even more points.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, the more time you can keep the same combinations, the more you know how each other plays. You know how each other little things that you can do on the field to work together. Then also you touched on the meters there. It's another compliment to our kick chase for one, but our middles, they've really been working hard keeping the opposition attack sort of inside their half. So our back three can return those kicks, and that's sort of the flow we've been trying to target, and it's been working well for us.
In terms of the individual stats, looking at meters, you top the charts, 231 meters. Ryan Hall, 171, and Harry Newman, 138. You clocking up some cheeky meters from penalties, 2 quick tap penalties. Is that something you instinctively look up and see that they've all retreated expecting the kick?
Yeah, well, Mikolai's always trying to find a nice, easy, cheap way to find meters for his stats. So I just quick taps on it. Nah, it's just if they're not set like that, and they're going to give that meters, I'm going to take it. But hopefully it'll just create. If they give me that, I'll take it. If they don't, and they're up, I'll kick behind them. They have to turn around. So it's a win-win either way for us.
Is the benefit? I was thinking about this when we were watching the game. Is the benefit from where you were tackled is probably where we would have kicked to, but actually they don't get a chance to set and get their defensive line set. That they're it's on straight away from your when you've done the run, you've played the ball. They have to be there. You know, you automatically got a head start on them.
Yeah, and also don't give them a break, because a lot of the time the penalties, they might come from them trying to slow it down. They might be tired. So if they do get that far back and we just keep playing, because I feel like we are quite a fit team. And, you know, I feel like we play some good footy when we are on the front foot and we're just, you know, playing that ad-lib footy. So, yeah, if they give us those meters, we're going to take them. But then at the same time, if they do set up, we'll just keep behind them and they can turn around.
Brad, when he spoke after the game, talked about the penalty count, you know, being particularly hurtful, and we need to go away and look at that. Our discipline's been good all season. We need to look at what happened on Friday night. But rather than just the penalties, and I look here at the penalty timeline in the game, in the second half particularly, there was 3 penalties back to back. That really begins to hurt you when you're into that sort of, you know, back and forth in the sets.
Yeah, it does. But then, you know, as Brad said, we need to go look at what we're doing. Obviously, if we're doing something wrong, but it's just that second half for us. Even if you take the penalties out, we dropped the ball a couple of times. We got unlucky on a couple, but we need to be better there. You know, we had a scrum and we dropped it, or we got dragged out, and we can probably put points on them there. We can put the game away, but we need to be better. But at the same time, I do feel like in that game it was a tough one to swallow, because as we've touched on, we haven't been poor discipline all season. So yeah, it's hard to swallow that loss, knowing we were 14-6 up with 10 to go or something, and we get a pretty rough yellow card, and then they just go bang bang. So tough one, but you can't do anything about it, can you?
How was Keenan after the game? Obviously, he was bitterly disappointed not to be on for the final stage of the game, but the lads get around him.
Yeah, but Keenan knows. I think he's pretty aware that he was pretty confident that he hit him and he might have slipped up, but you know, at worst maybe a penalty. But he's he's fine. Obviously, everyone can see what he's doing in the game. He's been consistently one of our best players. So when those things happen, you just move on with it. That's footy. It's tough at times, but you always got each other's back.
It was a pretty weird end to the game as well, wasn't it? Obviously, we went to pack down for the scrum, and we had to then. We thought we were going to get 12 seconds left in the game. It was going to be a Hail Mary type scenario, wasn't it, to try and get the win? But then the clock runs down and we're off the field. Everyone seemed to be scratching their head at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those ones. I suppose it's educational, maybe. I don't know, but yeah. I made the point even of saying, you know, when he blew time off, that we had 13 seconds left when he originally blew time in. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, the likelihood of us scoring is not great, but you got to have the chance. But yeah, just a bit disappointing, to be honest, because we just felt like we worked really hard that game. I felt like we worked really hard, and you know, it was just sort of. They played well, obviously, nothing against Warrington, but yeah, tough one to take.
Mentioned for Jake Connor, when we spoke earlier in the season, we were preempting you coming back into the side, and Jake was obviously playing at fullback. He's moved into the halves now. We lost Brody to that slight injury on Friday night, and Jake seemed to really step up to the mantle there of really taking on the attack for us.
Yeah, Jake's obviously a very good player, and he obviously has to be if he's going to keep someone of Fralls' calibre out of the team, because Fralls is a very good leader and he knows how to steer us around the park. So Jake's doing a really good job. And yeah, obviously when Crofty went off, it's hard for Sinny to come on that late in the game and, you know, find his feet. But I thought he did well. But yeah, Jake sort of he's got good talk. He knows how to work a team out. He's obviously been around for a long time. So He was really good. He just came straight over to me in Sydney and just said, like, let's just try and finish this off and play our footy. And yeah, no, he's been really good.
You mentioned the Middles right at the start there and how well they've been playing. They had another big game on Friday night.
Yeah, we can't speak highly. They just keep doing it each week, which is it's a testament to them. Obviously, our coaching staff and our fitness staff obviously have got them to where they want them to be, and just week in, week out, they're doing the same stuff over and over, and it's not easy stuff what they're doing. So they've been really good for us. If they're not doing what they're doing, there's no way we're even in the games at the moment. So I think, shining light of our team so far is that middle pack, and obviously led by, our starting middles have been really good. Mick, Cooper and Keenan, and then you got so much punch coming off the bench with Sambo and the likes of them. So really working well for us, to be honest, and exciting moving forward.
I think people probably underestimate Cooper in the fact that he's obviously come from Queensland Cup. He had a good run last season then, but he's really like the intensity of week to week first grade rugby. It's his first real taste of it, and he seems to be bringing out the best in him, getting better and better.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm from myself personally, when I got over here, it took me a couple of weeks to find my feet. It's a different game. It's hard. You're playing in different weather altogether. So I thought I think he's done really well to find his groove this quickly. And as you touched on, each week I feel like he's getting better and better, and he's adding more to his game. But yeah, I think Warrington was probably one of his better games, and the week before that was one of his better games. So another exciting part for us moving forward. But yeah, he's been very good.
Talking to people who had a good start to the season, Riley Lum has caught everyone's eye with how well he's been playing. He had a tough night, I think, by his own admission, tough night over at Warrington. A couple of errors there. As a young player, do the lads get round him and support him? And he's a pretty durable character, isn't he, Riley? He won't let it affect him, but no doubt, it is tough when things don't go as you planned.
Yeah, obviously you don't like the feeling of letting people down, which I'm sure is where he's coming from. But in our eyes, he's been very good for us, and he's scored an amazing try the other night. So he's been a really good player, and the thing about him is he's been thrown into that position on the wing. Played a couple of games last year, but other than that, he's played academy, reserve grade. So it's all learning for him. And the good thing about Riley is I feel like when he does make a mistake, he's pretty good at fixing it next time. So no, I think he's a very good player, and I think he's got a bright future. Even one of his errors was that short kickoff, he held up in the wind. Showed a lot of heart to get under that, because they're coming forward, he's going forward, and he's trying to take that ball. So all good things from Riley. Obviously, a bit to learn, but he's doing really well.
You mentioned Frawls there, and he was in action last week for the reserves. They had a good win. Does that show the caliber of Frawls, that he's ready to roll his sleeves up and do what's required from the team, get out there and help the young blokes playing the reserves?
Yeah, obviously it would be disappointing for Frawls. I know he wants to be playing week in, week out, but yeah, he just whatever's needed, he onto his next job. Played reserves. I watched the game. He played really well, controlled them, moved them around the park as you'd expect him to do. So he's doing his job. Obviously he's disappointed, wants to be in, but just shows the type of person he is. As you said, he just whatever's needed.
No game this week, unfortunately. We'd love to be involved in the Betfred Challenge Cup. We're not, but has it come at a good time, this little mini break, the fact that we've had 3 very physical games, Saints, Wigan and Warrington, to sort of assess where we are to go into the next stage of the season?
Yeah, in a way it has, but then everyone in the team's very, very eager to go well in the cup. So it's disappointing at the same time, but it will be good for us to refresh our bodies. Obviously, I've only come in a couple of weeks ago, but all the middles, obviously, we touched on how hard they've been working. Just the whole team, they'd be sore. So this week would be nice. A couple of days off with family and friends, and then get back into it next week. We'll probably have a big training week this week with no game, and then we look forward to Salford.
Yeah, that's on the horizon. So we're not in action this week, but just to wrap things up, we'll go through the ties, and I'll get your thoughts on how you think they're going to go. We start on Friday night. Catalans host Salford Red Devils. Tough assignment for Salford. You know, with all the predicaments they've got, probably the worst possible draw they could have got in the cup, having to go over to France to face Catalans.
Yeah, that's a tough one for them. The thing about Salford is they can fight very well, but I think it's probably a bit too much. I think Catalans will win that one.
Also on Friday night at the DIY Kitchen Stadium, Wakefield entertained Lee. The two sides met on Friday night as well, and Wakefield had a big win over the Leopards. I think Lee will come out fired up, looking to get a revenge for that one.
Yep, I don't think it'll be anywhere near the same scoreline. It's a flip of a coin for me, to be honest. Maybe Wakefield because they're at home, but no, I'm tipping that'll be probably a really good game.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think Lee have shown their cup pedigree in recent years, and they'll be up for that. Whereas the Wakefield, you feel like where they've come up from the Championship, they've got that winning feeling. They've started Super League well. A cup run could be ideal for Daryl Powell, and as Rhinos fans know, Daryl Powell is a man who knows how to get to a Challenge Cup final. The big one on Saturday, 2:30 live on BBC, the Hull derby, Hull FC versus Hull KR. Hull KR, top of Super League, Hull FC, bit of a resurgence this year. This could be a cup classic.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. Impressed with both teams watching them, obviously. We're going to have to try and beat both of them. But for me, just with the quality and the amount of time they've had together, I think Hull KR might be too good. Hull FC have been really good, but as I touched on before, they've sort of all come together this year and they're playing really good footy. But Hull KR is my tip for that one.
What do you think? Hull FC, you mentioned the improvement there. What do you think they've improved on their game? Aidan Caesar seems to be really pulling the strings for them.
Yeah, obviously, some amazing experience. Caesar's been around for a long time, and he's such a good halfback. And when you have a good halfback, you get directed around. And then you got people like Herman SASA who's playing out of his skin. He's such a big, hard body to handle and offloading. And then that doesn't even touch on like the Jordan Rapiner, who's been one of the best in the NRL for such a long time, and now he's over here doing a really good job. So I think they've just got a really good balance across their team of experience, and then obviously just they're good footy players, so they add.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric there. You know, big Hull derby at the MKM Stadium, be a classic one to watch. And then the rounds off on Sunday afternoon, 2:30, also on BBC. Warrington versus St Helens. Obviously, two sides. St Helens knocked us out in the last round. Played Warrington last time. How'd you see that one go?
Another tough one. Yeah, where's it getting played?
At Warrington.
I'm going to go with Warrington then, purely for the home crowd advantage. They're both very good teams. They've got very good players across the park. I think Warrington have that, working together for a longer period of time. So I'm going to back Warrington.
Yeah, they met recently, didn't they, in Super League? This Warrington v St Helens, for years, Warrington could never beat St Helens. There was like a real hoodoo around it, and they'd be like in front by huge margins. Saints just nick them at the death, but they seem to have evened up in recent time. That could be a great tie there. And I think all 8 teams that are in there now would fancy getting the name on the cup. It's really open, isn't it? This stage.
Yeah, definitely. Flip of a coin for all of them, really. I think they've all showed glimpses of how good they can be, but they've also showed glimpses of where they can fall off, which is, everyone does that. But whoever turns up, whoever wants it more. But yeah, it'll be a couple of really good games this weekend, I think.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks for joining us, Lachie. Thank you for listening to the Leeds Rhinos podcast. We'll be back on Thursday with our Q&A edition as we look ahead to the weekend. Thanks for joining us. Remember to leave a review, subscribe so that you get all the latest news, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Leeds Rhinos podcast.